getting that buy-in by creating an emotional aspect that I can relate with that individual, and then kind of making them notice things and having them buy into the treatment process and to make them understand, to make them learn. It's hardest to teach to people, make them understand, especially if they're not coming from that same background where you're from. It's getting them to buy in with you and to be on that same level with you. Once you create the connection, you're in heaven.
So hello and welcome. Today I'm here with Oliver. And Oliver is physiotherapist, kinesiologist.
Kinesiologist at first, physiotherapist. I'll tell you the story behind it.
Okay, we'll get into it. And well, that's what we're going to talk about. Possibly some coffee stuff as well.
Yeah, I think there's going to be quite a few things because just before getting on the podcast, I think we spent about 30 minutes talking about coffee, gym, and everything around it. So surely it'll be a good time.
Yeah, for sure. So Oliver, because by degree or by formal education, I'm also kinesiologist.
Good.
Okay. However,
Next to us.
well, wait for it, because I'm starting to have a feeling, because anytime I open a book about kinesiology, I was like, what is this? Like we never did anything like that.
Yeah.
So my master's was applied kinesiology.
Okay, which is very different than traditional. Well, applied kinesiology is its own entity. We'll speak about it. I guess.
Because we are not doing manual therapies. We were not taught to do, we had some like massages and stuff. We went through kinesio taping. We went through different practices and all that. But overall, it was mostly about get to understand the body. And then when I'm meeting people who know about kinesiology and are doing kinesiology, the story behind what it actually is very different from what I was taught. Correct. Okay. So tell me your story.
So just to kind of segue back onto that, there is two types of kinesiology. So I'm going to break it down to most understanding way that I get it is you have the kinesiologist, which people will look at you and I and are just kind of like, oh, you guys are glorified trainers. You guys got a title. You're okay, cool. You got some big words. Or you have the applied kinesiology side, which is completely different. It's manual muscle testing, allergy-based testing, trying to take care of psychological and digestive or weird endocrinological-based problems inside the body. Which I tried going down that path. We'll speak about it. I'm not really successful at it, to be really honest with you. And I think a lot of people see it as this kind of voodoo, like, what are you doing with me? If you're not going to give me the result, then it's not really going to work out. So when people come in to see you, there's a certain expectation. Hey, I'm going to go see Paolo. I'm going to do some strength and conditioning. I'm going to get stronger. Maybe I'll get, some soft tissue release, whatever it may be, however you decide to practice. But if I came inside you, started snapping my fingers in front of you, started poking you with a straw and started clapping my hands and hitting off reflexes on you, you're going to be like, what the heck is this guy doing, right?
Yeah, so, I'm just a hamster now.
Correct, right? So I've done a class that's called PDTR, the most interesting class I have ever done. PDTR stands for proprioceptive deep tendon reflex. And it's basically the studies or years, if not decades of studying by this very interesting doctor called Dr. Jose Palomar, who's had, I think, and when you see him as well, he's kind of a genius, but you can see that I'm not saying this in any insulting kind of way, but, something is a little bit off. Like, your first impression of how someone
every genius is
correct,
a little bit off.
Correct, right? And this guy, basically, he broke down kind of the treatment system in a very different way. So you have, obviously, I always break it down and I make it simple for people. So this is what I'm going to try to do when we speak right now. So I always make a comparison of the human body to a computer. You have hardware and you have software. Right? So you have structure. Hardware is basically your bones, your muscles, your cartilage, anything inside your body that has a tangible feel to it. Your software inside your body is everything that your brain reacts to and what it's going to initiate to make you move. It's going to initiate to make you do whatever you want to do, right? So let's say I have a software-based problem. You can do whatever the heck you want on me, right? Working on my hardware, meaning you can massage me, you can crack me, you can needle me, you can tape me, you can cup me, you can do whatever you want. It's not going to change anything. It's a software-based problem, right? So this guy is essentially addressing the software only. He's saying, I'm going to do inputs on you, and I'm going to test how the rest of your body reacts to those inputs. So you understand that your central nervous system or your brain, if something hurts you, you're going to have a generic response throughout the body.
Some sensation.
Correct, right? So we use muscle testing or muscle strength to see if it's a positive stimulus or a negative stimulus, right? And you can treat these things. He found that through doing certain reflex-based things and inputting the stim, resetting it in your brain, you can get crazy results.
Can you say what would example of input, what that can be?
Anything. It could literally be like me pinching your skin, right, in a certain area. So it's going to be a very, very acute pain. It's going to set off certain receptors that are just for acute pain in that area. So let's say, I'll give you a valid kind of a practical example. Someone comes in with shoulder pain. They said, you know what, I've seen every therapist. They kind of tell me the same thing. I've overworking upper traps, overworking pecs, overworking tears, everything internally rotating, nothing externally rotating. Well, listen, I'm going to give you an example. This is a common thing that we hear amongst a lot of individuals. I have shoulder pain, but it's not necessarily because of those things. I can't get my serratus anterior working. And it's always been my problem, right? So everyone always tells me work into retraction, retraction, retraction. Retraction's not going to change shit. I can't get my serratus working, right? If you tell me to retract, I'm definitely not going to get my serratus working, right? Because the serratus works when you're in that fully kind of protracted base position, right? So, I got misguided over time as well. And only through exercise movement that I start realizing these things that will be different. But coming back to this thing, let's say you had an accident in the past, you were biking and you fell off your bike, right? And the sound of you coming and hitting the ground was remembered by your brain associated with the pain of your shoulder. So whenever you hear a sound that's associated to something that's similar to that, you're going to have pain in your shoulder.
Shit.
Yeah. Now, how am I going to treat that? What, am I going to rub your shoulder? I'm going to tell you your upper trap is overworking? It's that sound that's the problem, right? So you're testing a lot more than just an outcome in terms of strength or structure. You're looking at the software that makes up that structure.
It's like your little PTSD towards that one event.
Correct. But this opens up this whole other mindset of like, holy crap, are we treating wrong? Right? Because, if that's the case, it's a whole other ballgame. But how do you put structure to that? And this is what that guy did. He put structure to how your brain actually functions. You need to understand that. If you really want to be a successful practitioner, you have to understand that. So everyone comes up to me and they say, Oliver, like, what do you do? What makes you so special? I look at them and I say, I don't know. I really don't know. Because if you asked me that same question 3 years ago, I would have said something completely different than today. I always learn. I think you're the type of guy as well who always learn. You like your coffee, you like your training, you're passionate, you look the part. You have all the ingredients, that are needed to be, intelligent. And my definition of intelligent is very different than other people's. My definition of intelligence is curiosity. Because if you're curious, you'll find an answer. If you're not curious, you're just like, I do something and I fail. And
this really resonates with me because, I started as a coach, and then I was coaching way before I started to, a couple of years before I started to study what the kinesiology, right? And then as I was coaching, a problem starts to come. I remember, I can say names, not necessary. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But one guy comes with I did this and this and my wrist hurts. I was like, well, okay. He's like, should I go to a doctor? I was like, well, tell me where it hurts, how it happened. And I start to Google, start to look at it, start to asking people who were more experienced in coaching and in physio. I had amazing guy who was maybe only like 2 or 3 years older than me. He was already on a PhD program when I was studying my master's. So he was doing some courses with us. Yeah, he was leading some courses, and the conversation was very good because he was coming to the gym where I was coaching him, and at school he was teaching me. So the conversation was very relaxed, and I wasn't afraid that I will just say stupid shit because he wouldn't make fun of you. He wouldn't. Yeah.
Another thing though, there's no such thing as stupid shit, right? Like, this is what I learned over time. I think a lot of people nowadays are scared of failing, and the whole system, the education system, is based around that. Oh, you can't fail. You must pass.
Yeah.
You got to get 65 and above or whatever, 70 above. You get a B plus.
Where are you from, Oliver?
Canada. So I'm originally Canadian. I have to say Canadian at heart as well. But my parents are immigrants from Poland. So I have Eastern European blood in me.
Really?
Yeah. So I have both nationalities, thankfully.
Cool.
But my mentality is more, I would say, on the Polish side. I'm not a traditional Canadian in any way. I wouldn't be here if I was a traditional Canadian.
But your accent is way far from Polish.
Very true. Very true. I have no Polish accent, right? My first language I learned was Polish, to be fair. As I started getting a little bit older and I lived on it's really, really funny. So in Canada where we live in the province of Quebec. Quebec is the only French-speaking province in all of Canada. The city that I lived in is Montreal, the only English-speaking city inside Quebec, right? So this is where it gets a little bit confusing, right? But because my parents were immigrants, there's a bill that passed in order to preserve the language. I had to go to French school. So elementary and high school I did in French, which I do speak French, which I'm very thankful for.
So you have 3 languages?
I have 3 languages.
Nice.
But I'm losing my Polish a little bit because I'm not practicing as much. But you put me in there, man, let's go. Yeah. And my wife is Chilean, so I have to learn Spanish.
She's what?
Chilean.
Chile. Oh,
From Chile.
wow. Okay.
So my kids are fluent. I have 3 young ones, but 2 that are a little bit older. They understand perfectly in Spanish. So if I don't learn Spanish now, I'm in big trouble. I'm in very big trouble, right? So I think languages are really, really important to learn as well, and it's a good mix.
Why I asked you, because when you were talking about that educational system, like this is what I believe that it's not only there, because I know that many people also from India have the same kind of problem. You can't fail at the school. You say something stupid, they will make fun of you, right? So having somebody like this guy where I could just throw ideas and free talk, exactly, with always good guidance, but positively, right?
Yeah.
It was very eye-opening, and it always started to be like client came with a problem, I start to learn about it. Client came with a problem, I start to learn.
And that's how you learn.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And that's how you learn.
I can't imagine how else I would learn about all the complexities than from actually having it in front of you.
All you need to do in life is don't be scared to fail and be curious. Because what most people do is they just think, shit, like what happens if I do fail? They look at the end result. Don't look at the end result. Look at everything in between. You learn from that in between. What I really enjoy right now, we have at the clinic, I have to kind of tell you my story. I didn't even do an introduction of myself, to be fair.
It was like the whole episode,
It's going to be a mishmash. But one thing that I really enjoy about the clinic that we have now, we have interns that come in. And a lot of the interns, I mean, look, I'm not here to flout or pond about myself, but I like spending time with them and I like showing them the mistakes that I have done. But I want to empower them as well, right? You're not doing this internship just to, sit here and say, hey, you're going to watch me do something. No, like you need to do something. So I empower them whenever I can. The first thing we're going to do is obviously with exercises and whatnot. Obviously, touching other clients, it's a little bit of a touchy thing. So, confidentiality and in terms of providing the service that you need. But I'll have them work on me. I have to have them work on me. I want you to feel these things. I want you to understand these things. And I've learned the most through trying, right? People look at you. People in Canada, they're like, wait, you needle people? It's like, yeah. What's wrong with that? It's like, I have a friend back at home. He's an athletic therapist. He's like, we can't do that. Like, what do you mean you can't do that? It's like, athletic therapists are not allowed needling. Only physios are allowed needling. I'm just like, why are you limiting yourself to your capabilities? Like, why do you not question these things? Like, do you not say to yourself, I deserve better. I can do this. I think I can help people. And if I learn and I apply this, I will help someone. And this is like where my story kind of goes. And I'll take 1 minute to do this. So have you ever watched the series called Suits?
Of course.
Okay. So I'm Mike Ross.
Okay.
I am 100% Mike Ross. I don't know how I got here.
That's why you said you're outlaw.
You bet. I'm a complete Mike Ross.
Yeah, just to clarify it for somebody who doesn't know Suits, Mike Ross was a guy who came with no degree, no actual formal education, but he became one of the most best performer in a top lawyer firm.
Top associates at a firm, and I think more down the line he becomes maybe even a partner. But essentially, what I'm trying to say is, I am a kinesiologist by degree, but here I'm recognized as a kinesiologist and physical therapist. How did I get the physical therapist license? It's a lot of perseverance. It's a lot of proving yourself. And when you prove yourself and you can pass the exam, they're happy. You check all the boxes, even if you don't have a degree, right?
So I can do it?
Do you have a kin license?
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right.
I think it's going to take,
we'll talk about it.
You're going to have to kind of have, vouching for it. Cause I had a clinic that was vouching for me. Right. Okay. But yeah, man, I'm a kin. Honestly, you say, I know this guy, he is a kinesiologist, but he also wrote the exam and he passed it. And if you pass it, go for it. Right. They don't see why not, right? It's a liability thing in the end of the day.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So once you have your stamp, once you have everything, man, you're good to go.
Yeah, but I absolutely agree with that. Like the limitations of the system. On one side, that's what you're right. Like you had knowledge, you had everything, you had
curiosity.
Everything needed.
I'm there. I'm working under. Yeah. There's no claims for me under me for 5 years. Give me my shot. And if it's really, really bad, like meaning you're not happy, give me a temporary license. If there's one little smidgen that's off, you can take my license again. But give it to me.
Like a grace period, yeah.
Correct. Kind of like a grace period. Exactly, right? And what's frustrating, I mean, you know this firsthand as well, is if you graduate from physiotherapy in this country, you need to intern for 2 years. You need 2 years work experience. So what, I have to leave the country to come back to the country to work? This is where I'm like, it's a little bit silly. So I tell every intern that wants to spend time with me, I say, you need to go to the licensing board. You need to go, whoever's responsible for this, and say, this is silly. You give me a temporary license that I can actually go and, practice what I know, what I preach, what I can help so many people with. And we need more therapists. We need more people. There's not enough, right? And if there's anything that comes up, there's a malpractice suit or something that comes up against me, fine. Look, I'm held responsible for my actions. You can take my license away. I think that's the right way. Because having an intern stare at me for 2 years, are you kidding me?
Well, Tima did that, so
but that's why I said you had experience firsthand. I'm like, man, that's long. That is long, right? And you're living in a country, you have expenses, you have everything. Like, man, you gotta get the ball rolling. Yeah,
like for Tima, it took a couple of years just to figure out what she wants to do, right? Then she finally found it. Okay, it's the physio, and after 3 years studying, she wasn't allowed to touch anybody, right? And do anything help.
Mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling to me.
I will tell you one mind-blowing thing for you as well. As you mentioned, the guy who noticed that, okay, well, you have only this license and you can needle, he can't needle just because it's a different classification, right? I actually think that in Slovakia, needling is not allowed at all, I believe. However, on one seminar, I met a guy from France. He was osteopath. And their system, that's like another level crazy. Oh, yeah. If a person will come with a report from doctor, report card from doctor that he's recommended for a shoulder treatment because his shoulder is hurting, he cannot do anything but work on that shoulder. He can't look at hip. He can't look at his back. He only is allowed to work on the shoulder, which, as we know, it's absolute
crazy,
bullshit.
But okay, so my next question would be, how would they know he just worked on the shoulder?
Well, that's the thing.
I mean, in the notes, you can write other things, right? But
however, if the person is not going to be, for example, happy with the results, they can sue you. Yeah, so it's not like he can, but it's not legal. Yeah,
I think it's kind of crazy, man. At the end of the day, whether you're a personal trainer, yoga instructor, Pilates instructor, physiotherapist, osteopath, chiropractor, you name it, we're all trying to help people. We're not trying to hurt people. I mean, I don't have any ill intentions in mind when I'm working with anybody. I don't think you do as well. I mean, when you're training them, obviously, you gotta make them suffer. They'll say, "Oh, you're a masochist. You're this." Like I heard that one many times before.
Sadistic.
Exactly. We're not gonna go on that side. But at the end of the day, I think it's crazy to limit people's potential. Right? Why are you limiting what I can do? I can give so much. And now you're telling me, no, you can't do this X, Y, Z. But it actually super interesting how this segues into something else. I find that my treatments now are less hands-on work and more talking. It's more about instilling a good psychological environment for them to thrive, to get better. This is what people suffer the most in Dubai. It's not physically actually something wrong with them. It's the environment that they're in is dictating how they feel. So I always try to tell individuals to be more human. You're not listening to your body. You have pain, you're still working 15 hours a day, right? You're sleeping for 3 hours a day. You're not eating 5 meals a day or 3 meals a day, whatever it may be. What are you doing? What are you doing to yourself? Why can't you just listen to what your body wants? It's so simple. And I try to give tips to reinstill this on a daily basis on numerous occasions. One of them is using the phone. Everyone's on their phone. Don't these people, how they, do you ever get annoyed when you get you send a message out or text message and you're like, man, this person hasn't got back to me 2-3 hours. Like, man, they're on their phone all the time. Like they're on their phone all the time. Like let's not joke about it. Look, I hold myself accountable as well.
Or if you see somebody who read the message
and doesn't get back to you. But like sometimes you need an answer as well, right? Listen, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule, but everyone's always there. So I always try to reinstill goals or reinstill what they want to do on the face of their phone, because they look at that so many times a day. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Right? They say, "Oh, I'm going to write it in the mirror in my bathroom." So I'm like, "You're in your bathroom in the morning and maybe the evening. I need you to see it all the time."
So like a wallpaper on the
like a wallpaper or a screenshot on the background. So obviously when you unlock the phone, oh, okay, there I see, boom, my goals, boom, 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 and it's by psychologically repeating these things. And this is the big word for me, manifesting, is trying to get people to start to manifest what they want, right? People think, I see Paolo over there. He's jacked. He's ripped. Oh my God, I want to be like Paolo. So go be like Paolo. What's stopping you, right? You're your own enemy.
Not that hard, I can tell you.
Well, there you have. For you, it's not that hard because you have such an amazing lifestyle that allows you to maintain what you are right now. But for some people who get up in the morning, and the morning meaning 11, 12, eat 5,000 calories a day of crap, right? Take about 2,500 steps a day and say, I won't go outside because it's too hot, are everywhere, right? So you're creating limitations in your brain that you can change instantaneously. If you want it. If you don't want it, no.
Yeah. Towards what you said, it's hard or not hard to be, to do what I do. I just find somehow, we were talking about it with Tima the other day, like the further we go, like I do less and I have better results in training. Yeah, like literally I do
What do you tell every athlete you see? You train too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just sit down on your butt. This is
like I have no athletic ambitions in a meaning of performance.
I always say this to people. I don't get paid to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why do I have to be able to lift 150 kilograms? I don't get paid for this. Yeah. Why do I have to do it? Put 70 on my back. I'll do a little bit more.
Yeah.
What I always say to people is, I just want to look good naked. That's it. At the end of the day, that's all you really care about,
right? Somebody will tell me again that I don't do it for the looks. I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. Everybody does. Even people who are doing it for the performance are doing it for the looks as well. Or at least they started that way.
Man, there's nothing. Listen, I'm a very black and white kind of guy. Like I'm straight to the point. I don't like, this shades of gray. Screw that. Get out of my life. Like I can't do this limbo kind of stuff. But who doesn't want to look in the mirror and be like, damn, I look good. Like I'm holding myself well. Yeah, and it's so empowering. It's such an empowering thing. You look good, you feel good, your skin is nicely colored, Everyone's like, man, this person, like, they're doing well, And there's a
how it's projecting how you feel about yourself, it's projecting it to the world, right? Like the confidence.
Correct. And it also projects your success. Because when you think of a successful individual, you don't think of a fat slob. You think, and it's true. It's true. Look, break down the psychology of everything, right? You think of someone who's successful as someone who is fit, as someone who is taking care of themselves, eating well, sleeping well. Yes, it's finding balance and it's finding time for everything that you value in your heart. But like, if I think of someone successful, I don't think of, Chubby McChubberson, right? Unless it's maybe an older generation, because typically this new generation is more health compliant, health understanding. They'll do something at least on a daily basis to try to make themselves psychologically feel well, whether it's good or bad, right?
Yeah. And then also how we define what success is, right? Like if you have all the money in the world but you are waking up depressed and you have to take pills just to keep yourself going. I mean, where is the success, right?
It's not success to me.
Yeah.
Man. Success to me is more about having time for yourself and being happy.
I will challenge you now a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
We on the mentoring program I was part of. We were talking about this a lot, about defining happiness and joy, because happiness from evolutionary perspective is being complacent. If an animal is happy, it's not going to do anything. It's going to be still because it doesn't has any drive towards action.
Okay, and what's the definition of joy?
And then joy would be that, because joy would be the journey.
So I'm joyful.
Yeah.
Sorry, I stand corrected there. Okay,
No,
I'm not the type to want to be complacent.
That's not a dictionary definition. Yeah.
I'm all about the journey.
Yeah.
I get the highs from the journey, right? Like, you have that one day where there's a couple of things that you've done so well, and you just got that, like, that drive, like, oh man, this is good. Like, I feel that energy. Yeah. I'm joyful. Fine, I'll be joyful. Yeah. I'm all about the joy.
Because happiness will fade away with a problem.
True.
But you can be joyful even solving the problem.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a very, very good definition, and I never looked at it that way. 100% joyful.
It's just semantics. It's playing with the words, but you know what I mean.
There's an understanding behind it. Yeah. I definitely agree with you, and I think that a lot of people will set their goals that are unrealistic, that doesn't allow them to enjoy that joy. Do you know what I mean? So they'll be like, oh, I want to be able to bench press 150 kg. I'm like, have you bench pressed 60 kg? No. It's like, so why don't you get 60 kg before you get up to 150? 150 is a lot. Like that's 2 times my body weight. Like I can't.
And by a simple logic, you're not going to bench press 150 before you bench press 60 anyway. So
setting those realistic expectations is a lot for me when I'm also working with individuals, right? So I say, okay, you come in, I assess you. Okay, I want you to be able to achieve that range of motion and pain-free. That's it, right? So if you have someone who comes with a frozen shoulder, they're like, I can't lift more than this. It's like, okay, well, I'm not looking for you to be up here just now. I'm looking for you to be at 90, right? Can you achieve 90? Okay, cool. How does it feel going there? It feels good, but I want to be. I'm like, you got to 90. You were here last week. You're here now. Cool. Ready an improvement.
Just one.
I'm so joyful right now.
Yeah, it's good. That's good. We had, because you mentioned frozen shoulder, we were doing this ice bath challenge over the weekend with not necessarily a challenge, because that you hear ice bath challenge, everybody's just jumping into the ice, but we did a seminar with theoretical part, practical part. Team added amazing breathing sessions so everybody understands what's going on. And then at the end, it was basically, the whole idea was learn how to deal with stress and discomfort that the world is pushing on you. The ice is just a representation of the discomfort. Yeah. It can be sauna, it can be anything else, right? And do it through the breathing, because if you start to panic breathing, game over.
Yeah, it's screwed.
Yeah. And we had one guy there, and they were all CrossFitters or athletes. There were some runners. Everybody was like fairly active lifestyle. And this guy was there. I believe his name is Patrick, and he didn't tell us about any like problems, injuries or anything, right? And then he got out of the ice, I think after the second round. It was like 2-3 minutes. Get out, get warm. If you want, you can try one more time. And he got out and he started to move his shoulder all around. And he's like, guys, it's gone. I had frozen shoulder. Now I don't feel it at all.
So that's really, really interesting, because this goes back to, what we were talking about hardware and software. So did he have a hardware problem? He did not have a true adhesive capsulitis. Exactly. If you have a true, you will grab someone's arm and it's like, holy mother. It's just like that whole glenohumeral joint is so compressed. It doesn't want to move.
It's frozen for a reason.
It is. It's there is so much connective tissue that's built up. You cannot externally rotate anything. You cannot lift. It is horrible. It is a physical problem. It could be a very, very big problem. This guy had a software-based issue, and it somehow got addressed through the cold, right? So now what would interest me is contact that guy. Are you still moving well? And two, if he isn't at this point, well, he clearly has some kind of thermal receptor that's off, because when you put him in the cold, things change.
My thought was going direction. I want to examine this further, but I haven't got the chance to talk with him after that. I would ask him, and I want to ask him, what were the thoughts when he was in the ice? Because he might be dealing with something emotionally, and if he overcame, or if he worked on that through that discomfort, and he just was able to calm down and just let go, literally, then that would be also a way to go. Because sometimes it's just, how extreme stress can heal.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Can you, I'm such a bad Canadian for this. I'm just saying it. I'm very open for myself. I'm not great with the cold. And it's one of the reasons why I moved to this side of the world, because I've done my fair share of minus 20, minus 30, windshield, frostbite on my face. Even though, snowboarding is one of my favorite sports, which I love to do, I'll overcome any kind of stressors if I can get on my board and I can ride, on a great day. But just the cold in general, I've had enough cold days where my hands and my feet, literally you'd be outside until you can't feel your hands or feet, and when you would come back in, that sensation of blood coming back in. I
had it many times.
For me, it's one of the, I'm not going to use the word hate. I don't like using this. This is another manifestation thing of mine. I very dislike that feeling. It is a horrendously painful feeling for me. Horrendously. I don't know why. Somehow ingrained in my brain, I just don't like that kind of the pins and needles, and oh my goodness, it's just giving me the shivers just now.
If you're my client, I'll tell you that's the reason why you should do it.
Yeah, maybe this is around the reason. So I've never
control it.
That's the thing. So I don't think I would be able to get in 0, 2, 4, 6 degrees. I think I would benefit from maybe 10, 12 degrees at first, getting in, taking a little bit more time, but just working on my breathing, working on kind of cementing my autonomic nervous system. Just allow yourself to let go. But this is what I want to know is, what is the science behind ice baths? I know that we're kind of switching the roles here and me asking you a question,
let's go.
but I kind of want to know, what is the art behind the cold, and what are you guys trying to instill and trying to change in individuals when you do the ice bath?
Well, that's a very complex, okay? Physically or mentally?
I'm leaving it to you.
Both.
I would want to know both, actually, because it is very important.
Yeah.
And also anatomically on top of that, because there is going to be something other than, you're saying physical, yes, but I'm talking about how the brain is going to be affecting the body rather than physically, hey, I'm going to be, having more of my blood in my midsection or something like that, right?
Yeah. So basically the main or the most known and prominent benefit of that applies to sauna as well, that applies to icing as well, is the uptake of white blood cells. So insanely strong immune response. You get that after sauna if you do the cold dip after sauna. It doesn't work if you don't do the cold dip after the sauna. So if you have you're in a sauna 10-15 minutes, and then you do that either cold dip or cold shower. I always recommend, and I would always go for dip for sure. That switch between two extremes, it's going to do insane uptake and in immune response.
In white blood cells?
Yes.
So creation of white blood cells?
Yes, correct.
So are you saying technically, if I were to start doing ice baths, this hot cold kind of plunge pooling kind of stuff, will I have better immune response to colds?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You will have way less likelihood of getting cold, flu, and also upper respiratory issues. Yeah. bronchitis or whatever that can be, because you are doing like, tiny teeny poison that will make your body stronger. And then again, and then again.
So interesting.
So it's just adaptation process.
So my daughter, I mean, I can share about this. This is my daughter. We've had a very, very interesting couple, I would say half year with her. Ever since last September, since we came back, she started having...
How old is she?
She just turned 3. She's 3 years and 3 months now.
Okay.
But she's always had this kind of dry cough, something going on. And as parents, you've tried everything, and it's not about self-medicating. We're not the type to, throw medication on her and say, take this is good for you. No. You can hear in the cough that this is not a, hey, I'm infected with a virus or infected with a bacterial infection. No. This is allergic. This is an allergic-based cough. And we were telling this. We went to see 3 or 4 doctors. Nothing at all. She's like, guys, stop, giving us more of these meds for her. I'm not going to give it to her. Like, she doesn't need it. She's been through it, right? So then I'm going and I'm saying, okay, let's, obviously you give vitamin D. So we up the dose to vitamin D. We try kind of giving different foods, go outside.
Sorry to stop you. Vitamin D from a couple of studies and way bigger authorities than myself. I'm just,
conveying it.
You have way better dosage of vitamin D if you will be 3 times a week for 10 to 15 minutes on the red light than from oral supplementation. Sun itself, even better. Yep.
That's the thing. I would give her vitamin D and we would spend time at the pool. So we're just always outside.
Perfect, yeah.
She always asked to go to the beach, and I go into the beach because of the salt water as well. The salt water helps. I just find that they're more healthy, but it just kept coming back. So we saw this last doctor, and he finally got me the answer I wanted, right? He took a small camera, went up in the nose to see, and when it would get really bad, my daughter would have very horrible coughing spurts, literally to the point of throwing up when she would have her milk at night.
Wow.
She would have her milk. Because what happens is you have your tonsils, and you have another kind of set of glands that are called adenoids. And these are your first base of contact when you're going to be breathing in. That's going to be filtering everything kind of out. I mean, obviously you have the hairs in your nose and whatnot, but these are your first kind of in the throat that's going to be contacting them. Extremely swollen. So I had to go get an x-ray. I was so happy that she got an x-ray because, I thought she would move. You can't move, right? So I was standing right in front of her, and she managed to be very still. And we saw that, the adenoids and the tonsils are very, very inflamed. So what's happening is when she's taking in the milk, this dust, everything, it's closing off her breathing passageway even more. And this is why she gets into these coughing spurts where she wants to get all these allergens out. She wants to get something out. So now you gave me some pretty good ideas. I'm starting to think, should I plunge pool her? Because obviously it's going to be a big stress on her, right? Going from hot to cold. So I don't know how, a young 3-year-old is going to be able to take it. But this red light thing, I'll buy one. I'll buy one. I'll have it in the room.
It's not even that pricey. I mean,
no, it's not a price dependent.
And it's your kid.
It's my kid. I'm actually. It's funny because I'm speaking to a guy because I want to buy an air purifier for her, the Dyson one for the room, because I asked a couple of people and they're like, dude, it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference.
I will give you better brand.
Okay.
We have one.
Okay.
I can show you, and because we did.
So we're not promoting anything here, right?
No, it's fine. But we did a pretty extensive research before we were buying one, and we are very happy with this one. And the Dysons,
expensive.
They don't even perform that well.
Oh, really?
Compared to what we got, and it was in the similar price range. I know it's very popular. It's like fucking iPhone of
Well,
these devices, right?
It's very the design is very nice.
I think this one is just
I don't care about design. I want purpose. I do for purpose.
Yes.
This is not like me taking care of my body or anything.
Absolutely,
this is do your job. I don't care how you do it. Just do it.
I can't remember the name, but I will show it to you.
Yeah, cool.
So for her, how I would approach it, if it's my daughter, okay, I would not do it to anybody else, kids, okay. Get her understand long exhales through the lips before you go into the water. Inhale, push air through the lips for a long time. And the first thing I would do is like, she can count to 1 or 1 to 5.
In 2 languages to 10.
Okay, cool.
However you want. I'm going to take notes down now because this
go
is
for it.
I like learning, man. This is where are my notes, dear Lord. I need to. Oh my goodness, where did I put this thing? So pierced the.
I can just send you a clip of this where you can re-listen it to it again, so you don't have to write it down now.
Sure,
okay.
I mean
that's fine. We're recording, so
it's okay. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So what I would do, that I would get her to, I will count, and you exhale for 10 seconds.
Okay.
And you count, and then you do the opposite, where she is counting while you are exhaling.
So you're making a game of it.
Yes, you make a game of it.
Gamifying is a big thing for kids. I like it. Okay.
And once you do the dry run, then you do the same thing. However, you will put the cold water on her for that 10 seconds. And then you will put the cold water on you for that 10 seconds. And
so it's like from a bucket, basically? Or just
can you have a cold water like...
Yeah. Like in the shower, basically?
In the shower, just
cold water.
Yeah, because not everybody in Dubai can have a cold water in summer, so...
It's cold enough, actually.
It's cold. Okay, if it's cold enough, perfect. We have it as well.
I mean, after like a minute, you're screwed because like the pipes start to get warmer. You're like, okay, the water's coming from top.
Yeah,
but for that first minute, it's fine.
What we do, even we have our water heater off.
We have it off all the time. I just turn it off maybe 5 minutes before I go in or something.
Yeah,
like that.
So just don't turn it on.
Just don't go to Kuwait. Kuwait. So I lived in Kuwait for 1 year, dude. Regardless, maximum cold. It's as hot as it can be. It's hot as outside. It's 55 degrees. I'm like,
it happens sometimes when they have the big tanks of water directly on the roof.
On the roof, man, it was horrible. Like I would come home. I remember when I was in Kuwait. So I worked before coming to Dubai. I worked for 1 year in Kuwait because I couldn't find work in Dubai. Yeah, my second apartment that I moved to, the first one, it was just a disaster. So I'm like, I was right next to a mosque. So can you imagine at 4:30 a.m.? Allah, so I'm like, no, I can't. Look, I respect it, but I need sleep sometimes, and I don't want to be disrupted that much. But the second one, man, you would put maximum cold. It is as hot as it gets. I think the tanks were on the roof, right?
Yeah,
so it's
most
just
likely.
like, all right, let's make it happen,
And for the first time when you do it once, and then do it twice. 10 seconds her. 10 seconds you.
So I'm gonna make a game out of
game
it.
Over.
Go into
exactly.
the shower with her.
And then again, And but the point is that the exhale, because we have the parasympathetic nervous
in the
receptors in the lips. That's why food feels good. That's why kissing feels good. And that's why exhale can calm you down. Even it's not through the nose, which would be ideal, but even through the lips, but not like, I call it the breath of the death. There's you're not checking your breath. You're blowing softly the candle. Yeah? Of course, at first, it will be hard for her. It might be even hard for you to control it.
Of course.
Because that's the whole point. That you need to get to control it, and now
this is the kind of stuff that now I think. Listen, alternative medicines are very interesting. I'm not the type to self-medicate. I think it's the worst thing in the world, right? My body became this way. It became sick. Why? Well, I can get myself out of it. I just need to, give it the right ingredients for it to grow, right?
Yep.
So definitely increasing my white blood cell count, whether it's going through hot, cold,
Yep.
hot, cold. That's awesome. Like, that's super simple. Getting a red light, having them play in a dark room with the red light on. It's like, dude, let's do it,
Yeah. And this is just like, this is one thing, okay? Now, the physical benefits are usually many people will get insane pain in the spots that are problematic for them, extreme hip replacement, knee surgery. You will feel it there. You will feel the burn. You will feel it's insanely painful.
When in the bath.
When you're in the ice bath. However, that's your blood rushing there and it's actually healing. That's why I always say people before they go in, the pain, don't be scared of it. That's you healing. It will go away.
So interesting.
Yeah.
And okay, so let's say I'm a newbie. Yep. I suck at the cold. How do you structure a program for them to start doing this successfully? Because most important thing, I'm probably a little bit more, aligned with yourself in the sense that, I understand wellness. I'm willing to push myself there. I can push myself.
Yeah.
But I want you to speak on behalf of general population. Most people who are doing their 9 to 7, 8 at night, who have very little stress tolerance understanding.
You know what? I would say it doesn't matter, because I've seen now, I had a podcast with Holly, which is, she's running a program, Heroes of Hope, for autistic kids. And she is also on the side, and also she's merging it with some like fundraising and stuff. She is insane athlete. She ran 7 marathons in 7 days. Okay. As a fundraiser in 7 Emirates. Yeah. She can take discomfort. In the ice, she freaked out. After 5-10 seconds, she was like, I can't take it. She didn't even sit down on the first attempt. She was there.
But she went straight into ice?
What do you mean straight into ice?
She went straight into 0-degree water?
Well, 1 degree water, yeah. But there are procedures you do before that. I just want to tell you. I just want to tell you on this example that even people who you would say like, nah, like she can take so much pain.
I have no ego, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would be a sissy.
And then you have this little girl who will just come and she's like, oh, I'm so scared of it. She'll jump in. And you're like, hey, are you even breathing? She's so calm, So it really depends how much you're used to it, on your personality, maybe on the day itself, right? I had so many up and down experiences where I was okay there for minutes, and then the other time I wanted to cry after 3 minutes, and I was like, this is too much, and everything was. The scariest one was that I was so off my mind that I looked to the right side where there was like a window, and I saw myself in the reflection, and I didn't recognize myself. Okay, and that was scary. Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh shit, what's going on? Anyway, before you go to the ice, you should do the breathing. The breathing is about the Wim Hof type of breathing, about hyperventilation first, then you hold the breath, so you after exhale, so you spend the oxygen that you build up in your body. Then you inhale, hold for 15 seconds, repeat. As simple as that.
Hyperventilate
for 30 breaths.
For 30 breaths, hold 15 seconds.
Hold as long as you can after exhale.
Okay.
Then
after exhale, so
after
empty lungs.
Empty lungs. But the exhale shouldn't be like you literally squeeze everything out. Let's say exhale 70%.
Okay.
Yeah, but like normal breathing. Yeah. Then you after that hold, you inhale for 15 seconds just to restock, and then you repeat it. 3 rounds, 4 rounds, as much as you want.
What should you feel at that moment?
Well, that's the thing.
I think like lightheaded or
lightheaded,
blind,
tingling.
I don't know.
You can.
I can just imagine. Blind, no, like I can kind of imagine.
You can get narrow vision. But you can have your eyes closed, so you don't care. You can get tingling anywhere. I got ears, jaw, teeth. I mean, like you can feel your teeth.
I mean, I'm gonna try this today. I've never done any extensive.
We can do it after.
Okay, fine, done.
Together.
Done.
Good.
Done. Even better.
But Tima will guide you through that. Okay. She's way better at that.
Okay.
And then after that hold, you just inhale, hold for 15, and then that's your restart, and then you do a couple of rounds. Tima was able to get to 3.5, 4 minutes hold after exhale.
So barely empty lunged.
Yeah.
3.5 minutes of holding her breath.
Because you, through that 30 breaths, you oxygenate everything so much that your tissues are okay.
That is wild, man.
Yeah. I heard about one guy, he didn't wake up. And they were slapping his face.
They breathed him to sleep?
Yeah.
Or breathed him to death or what?
Yeah, he basically passed out. After the hold, there was a whole bunch of people. But these guys, they were pushing it. They were holding up to 6 minutes. And they were like, okay, end of round. And one guy is still lying. He's like, hey, get up. And he wasn't there. So slapping him, whatever. And when they woke him up, he was like, why are you yelling so much? He was so calm, he was so good.
Man, this is wild.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm kind of being devil's advocate because I see, and I know there is huge benefits to this. How can I apply this? I mean, I'm guessing Tamea does this with her clients. And I'm guessing or patients or whoever she's working with. I want to start applying this with my patients.
Mm-hmm.
How can I apply this in a certain way to, you know how I said is the psychological approach that I'm taking now. I'm trying to get them to understand where to be, how to position themselves so that they can foster better care for themselves. How can I use these breathing techniques to not only improve how they are as an individual, but to also use this to place themselves and actually get better pain mitigation or better progress in terms of whether it's in a physical way, whether it's in a pain perceiving way, whether it's in an emotional way, anything.
Timea, because of her past not really nice experiences with traffic, she had 3 accidents. One, she almost died on the motorbike. That's why she's not riding with me. And 2 others were not as serious, but it was like with her dad, with her mom, with her sister. She had accident with each of them. She was never driving. So she was always there, never driving. She was very stressed to start driving in Dubai. She got her license. She started, I mean, it's stressful for anybody here to start driving here. But she was like, and then time came when she needed to go on her own, not with me next to her because it was just logistically impossible. Yeah. And sometimes she got close to having a panic attack or actually having a panic attack, but you can't really assess that when you have a vague grasp of it, right? Sure. Like who will tell you, no, it was on the verge of it or it was already there. She started to do this. This practice, what I just described, 3 rounds every morning, disappeared. Anxiety gone. She knows if that situation will come and she'll start to feel hyped, she can bring herself down through the breathing. And that's where we are getting with the ice bath as well. That ice bath is representation of stress, discomfort, anything.
Physical stress.
Exactly.
And you're trying to overcome physical stress.
But it can be, it's very hard for me to induce you into a mental stress.
On the spot.
But you can in controlled environment.
Correct.
Correct. So we mimic that through the ice.
Interesting.
And that ice, look, you are sitting in the water. Yeah. Why cryo, therapy is not that bad. Even you are on way less degrees.
Well, all I know it's just good for your skin. It doesn't have any effect on your actual. From what I understand, I could be completely wrong, but from
I
what
don't know
I've
about
read,
that.
It's just good for your skin.
My understanding is that my point is that it's not as intense as going into ice water. Why?
I agree.
Because the water and the skin.
It also contains a lot more energy inside the water, right? So it's the transfer of
heat is 7 times
there you have it.
Stronger between water and skin than air and skin. So you don't have to be as, when we are in the ice, we are actually like a fish in a Carrefour in that fish chunks, It's
I wouldn't say exactly. No one's trying to buy you, right? Like let's kind of not take it too far.
No, that's how we sit there. Yeah. You're actually the last one we did now on the Sunday. We had one last bag left and nobody wanted to go. So me and the other coach who were doing it and Timea was just like, okay, we will jump in now. There was one last bag left before I went, so I just throwed it there. I felt there was no water from my hip up. It was just this ice chunks everywhere.
Yeah.
So you're just sitting in that. My heart rate, 43.
Wow.
While there. It spikes, but then it drops.
Wow.
Yeah, that's...
passing out kind of thing,
Yeah, I start to get dizzy a little bit, but that's when I know, it's time to go.
This is something I definitely need to now start paying attention to. I think as you'd be naive to think you're a good practitioner, a good trainer, a good this, if you don't understand these ancient treating methodologies that are super important at targeting the most primordial epicenter or center of your body. There's nothing you do more on a daily basis than breathe.
Yep.
Right? So we're all compromised in one way or another. Why don't we focus on it? And I think this is why, a lot of people like this yoga, these different tempo-based workouts as well, because they put a lot of focus on that.
That's the other thing. Then eventually we start to use the breathing to control the intensity in the workout. I will simplify it very much. Okay, there are some nuances that you can like explore with the breathing, but generally nose breathing is going to bring you more to a calm state, parasympathetic. Mouth breathing towards sympathetic.
Interesting.
If you need to do 1 rep max box jump, you're not breathing through your nose and looking at the box. You will hype yourself.
Up,
yeah. If you want to calm down, you're not going to do it through hyperventilation through your mouth.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So what we do in the eyes is we only control that panic, that mind, through the breathing. And then you can apply it to workout. You can apply it to stress in your life. You can apply it to absolutely anything.
I'm so behind, man. I'm behind. I mean, this is something that, this is why I said, if you asked me 3 years ago how I practiced, and you asked me today, I would say, I don't know. I've completely changed the way I practice. And I think that's the right way of going about it. If you're not learning, what are you doing? You're rotting.
Even within a year. If you are doing exact same things that you were doing a year before,
you're doing something wrong. I agree with you. So, this is why
I'm even pissed. Like, how could I be, like, oh shit.
Why didn't I learn anything in this year?
I was teaching it, I was teaching squat.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I was teaching squat this way for so long. Oh my God, but
it's so interesting.
That's why when we say that, you will eventually, not on purpose, hopefully, hurt some people. Yeah. But it's in this meaning that at that moment, you don't know you're hurting them.
True.
You just think that's the best thing to do. But when you look at from the time past, you're doing your best at that moment, which means the 1, 2, 3 years before that, that was your moments when now looking at it, you're like, oh shit, I was actually hurting them.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, it's...
or at least not helping as much as
self-growth,
we could, right?
Self-development. I mean, are you guys... I know Wim Hof made this very, very, very popular, but there's nothing very proprietary about this. Are you guys teaching this?
Oh, yeah, kind of.
No, not kind of. Are you teaching it?
Yeah,
listen,
we do it with our clients.
No, I'm not talking... Okay, but meaning, do you have a class? Make your own class.
We are actually working on doing online transformation program, but not transformation in a meaning.
This is the first time anyone hears it, right?
Yes, it's very new.
Good.
But it's not going to be. It's not going to be about transforming your body in a meaning. Lose 30 pounds, lose this. It's about literally how I call it, how I market it. It's how I will market it, regaining control over your body.
Control your life.
Yes.
And that's my, like, I don't know if we can swear here, holy shit moment. Like, it's like
swear as much as you like.
I'm not the type. I don't like it. I find it, again, this is how my mind thinks, I literally got to the point of calling my clients, not patients, because patients has a negative connotation to it, right? Yeah. So like, I'm trying to really negate everything that's negative out of my life and try.
4 Agreements, the book?
No.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I have a lot of reading to do. I've been starting to read a lot more lately.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
Okay.
He was some shamanic guy. He was a son of a shaman of some tribe. Then he went and studied like normal general practitioner medicine. And he was like, everything what his dad was doing was just so out of his concept, right? And then he eventually came back and became shaman as well.
Good.
And he has this book, 4 Agreements. And one of it is, don't misuse words. And that's why I thought you definitely had to read it, because that's exactly what you are saying.
No, yeah? This is something I learned through my practice.
You need to use them in an exact meaning they are meant to be used, or you want them to
be used. Again, fostering that environment, right? No, I just see, I'm so intrigued by this, man. Like, it's...
5 things. For me, it's a 5 absolutely fundamental things that if people fix And it's not a fix that you need to do like a huge amount of effort towards. It's breathing, resilience, which is through the cold exposure, for example. Or like if I'll tell you like, let's go for a run, it's what? 12 p.m. Yeah. 12 p.m.
Oh,
outside,
I'm game. I'm good for it. I'm not.
Like expose yourself to discomfort. So you gain that resilience. Then you get nutrition, hydration, or that can be together, sleep, and training or movement. It doesn't need to be training in the meaning of training. It just needs to be you are moving your body. And if you will fix
moving with purpose,
hey, it's most of the days you don't need more than 20 minutes.
Agreed.
If you go for a training, okay, within all these practices, if you go for a training, okay, maybe 50, 60 minutes. But you don't need more than that. When I told you before that I'm doing less and less and less, I mean, with building body awareness and knowing how to, turn on the right muscles, on the right movements and all this stuff, I can't take 2 hours of training. I can't take 1 hour of training. I'll just do one very focused workout. And it's not like I can't take it that it would hurt me, but I don't feel need to do more.
Correct.
And I still have, as I said, I'm not athlete. I'm not pushing for any performance, but I'm very happy where I am. I'm joyful, not happy.
I'm just so, like I have every now and then I have these kind of oh shit moments. And this is almost one of them for me. It's like, man, how did I omit this for so long? And I knew about this. It's something that, I had written down and it's like, okay, I want you to address such. And I've just never been there. I never have it. And I know now, you start thinking about yourself when you're doing this. I'm primarily a mouth breather. I'm a huge mouth breather. Mm-hmm. I need to change that.
Yep.
You brought up so many. Sorry if I broke this thing.
No, that's fine.
You brought up so many interesting things as well. I'm thinking about my children now. How can I bring them up in such a way where, this is going to be ingrained inside their brain? Yep. I want this to be ingrained. This is going to be innate for you, and you need to go share this with others.
When you think about it, also through the food, and that's going to gut flora and how our gut, which is 4 kilos in you, in me, probably for our height and weight, it's 4 kilos of organisms in our gut. Mm-hmm. That's a lot, They influence your nervous system through the dorsal vagus nerve. Yeah. But food you eat influences them, which means the food you eat influences your nervous system. Your state of nervous system.
Sensitivity as well of the nervous.
Exactly. So you know that if you have coffee, you will go more towards sympathetic. When you have carbs, you go more towards sympathetic. But if you have protein, you go more towards parasympathetic.
What about fats?
More on the neutral side.
Alcohol? Just curious, because some people drink a lot, right? I
don't even know because I would not have alcohol. But because many alcohols carbs, I would say sympathetic more, right? So, and then you just look at it like it's literally auto-regulation. You're regulating
with what you're taking in.
With what you're taking in, whether it's through the breathing, through the nutrition, through the hydration.
For me as well, what I've really focused on the last half year, and it's done amazing for me. I find I've done amazing for me, but I'm getting to a point now where I need to start educating myself a little bit more, is this intermittent fasting. I was such an emotional eater. Now, you ask me to go 24 hours without having food, no problem.
Nice.
No problem.
What protocol do you do?
I just do my own. I told you, I don't have a set structure.
Okay, so you don't do like 20 to 4 or 16 to 8?
I'll do anything, I would say between 16 and 20 hours. This is on most days with how my schedule is working now, probably closer 18 to 20 hours, where I'm very comfortable. I will do, I call it wet fasting, so I have fluids, because, we're in the heat here.
You should.
Yeah, I'm not going to. But food-wise, I can go easy 24 hours.
But you don't have like, sugary drinks, right?
No.
So no nutrients.
Black coffee and just waters.
Yeah, well, that's still no calories or per se digestion required there. So
nothing at all. So I can easily do it, and I find that For me, the mental acuity is just so much higher. I feel better. I feel better within my skin, even, you know? I don't feel like, I mean, the average, from what I understand, I mean, you seem like a guy that knows your numbers fairly well. I don't want to be one of those guys that just kind of shoots out numbers. But from what I understand, on average, most humans carry in excess on their body 40,000 calories in excess. 40,000 calories in excess.
Okay, now
average.
I'm trying to count. It's what, like...
How many days would that be? So let's say you need 3,000 to live a day, right? So you can go 2 weeks, a little bit, about 2 weeks living with no food, right? And it's possible if you have your fluids, of course. You can't go 1.5, 2 days maybe without fluids.
How much would 1 kilo of excess fat be?
Of a kilo
on the calorie
one pound. 1 pound, from what I understand, is about 3,600 calories. 3,500, 300, 600 calories.
1 pound.
1 pound.
Oh yeah. I was just reading.
So a kilo would be two times 2. So we're talking about
to build or break 3 pounds. You need 12,000 calories. So
that's basically on the same ratio, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just, you know, why do I need to eat so much? And I've come to notice that my eating habits are so emotional. And I think it was brought up from my childhood, you know, this kind of Eastern European way. Hey, we have food, like let's eat kind of now. Like we're not the type that, you know, we overeat, but we know, my dad said it in a great way, because our family went through the war, and I mean, we lost pretty much everything during the Second World War.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's why your
parents decided to come over to the other side, right?
Okay.
So we know how to live with very little. We know how to live with very much. So just be happy and content in the middle. I think that's kind of the most important part, right? So if you ever see me go to a restaurant, I'm not the type that leaves everything on the plate kind of thing. No. I finish my plate. If we go to a buffet or something, you know, or not buffet, you know, like mezzas here, they have the Lebanese restaurants. They love bringing so many things. And you see so much left. As I say, I either take it home, or if I go to these restaurants that don't allow you to take it home, I only go once and I'll never come back again. Because I just think I'm not the type to waste. I'm not the type to do this. So
I hate wasting food. However stupid that looks, I finish food after my friends when we are there. It's they're like,
we do the same. We're not.
You leaving this here? You leaving a full boiled egg here? You know, they'll throw it away. Give it to me. You know.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. And you know, we didn't come to this world to take it as an advantage, right? I think we all have to make big efforts to try to make it through this world. I mean, we have a huge host of problems that are happening in the world, right? When it comes to, you know, even food shortages, water shortages, everything. What can I do to make this world better? Or how can I make this world a better place without, you know, polluting, without being that negative influence? And this is what I'm trying to kind of circumnavigate. And this is because I'm very empathetic. I think of others. So I'm in this situation. I won't put you in a situation that's going to put you at risk. So I know that, hey, you have this podcast going. I'm not going to go, you know, rub or tell you have to go on another podcast, or, you know, do something where it's like your main competitor. Like, no, I'm not going to put you in those situations. You know, I want to kind of keep you.
I don't have competitors, so.
No, it's for you. You're doing this as well,
exactly.
Right? And it's also, listen, you know, why is Joe Rogan so successful? Right? Because he gets amazing guests and he loves to learn. He's curious. Man, he signed a $100 million deal with Spotify, for just talking. It's unbelievable. Like, you know, think about it. You know, you can grow to something like that if you ever want. If you wouldn't manifest it and you want to, go for it. You know, no one's stopping you, right? It's only you. Your limitations are your limitations, right? If you want to take it farther, go farther.
Go on.
No, I was done.
I also somehow learned, because also this idea, what we were just talking about the courses we want to do with Timea for the breathing and ice and basically just, you know, regaining the control. It was always kind of somewhere floating around, but only certain things needed to happen for me to feel like, okay, now it's the time. You know, like it wasn't like, okay, out of nowhere this idea came, or it wasn't like anything too forced. The idea was always somehow around. I just didn't have the right mindset at that moment to make it happen. Yeah. And that's what you're saying, like in a couple of years, you have a couple of aha moments. Yeah.
You got to. If you don't have these aha moments, you're not living. In my definition of life, right?
Like, because your definition of life is learning, right? So
you got to.
obviously that will come eventually.
Money doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry. Like, these people, I think maybe you've had it, I've had it at some points where people will try to buy you. And I'm like, look, man, I know how to make money. I don't need yours, And once you say that to them, they're like, oh, can't be bought. Like who is this individual? Like they start looking at you at a very different level of respect. Because I think also, this is what I'm learning as well. I'm into kind of certain things, finance related. Obviously you want to make your money grow for you. Yeah, I'm in crypto.
Okay.
That's a whole other rabbit hole. We're not going to go down. It's for another day maybe. But
so keep your secrets, right?
But I even lost my train of thought now that what we were talking about, right? But there's, like I said, you always have to kind of keep expressing yourself.
The aha moments we were talking about.
Yeah, this is life. This is living. I'm not gonna, you go buy yourself something. It's great. Okay, cool. You have it. One watch. You have this. You have that. But it doesn't make me happy. There's me. It's more like the journey, like you said, that growing up to that area, and also the experiences. So taking my kids to a water park for the first time, awesome. They're going to learn so many cool things. And me seeing that, I get enjoyment out of that. Or going out for memorable dinners, or doing things that are memorable, or achieving, I want to go climb Kilimanjaro. Go do it. Like, what are you waiting for? I have one of my clients, really, really good clients. She was awesome. A big eye-opener to her health and wellness journey was when she and a bunch of other people scaled to base camp of Everest. It was just an eye-opening experience. Her fitness level was beyond anything she has ever done. She looked great. She felt great. And now, like, she's, preaching it. And now she's actually organizing more trips and more things so people can feel the same way.
Nice.
It's important. You need these aha moments.
Also, when you were saying with your interns, right?
Yeah.
Because I used to do different types, but also internships for coaching. And that's something you described. You just actually didn't say it aloud. And I believe you will agree with me that you learn the most when you're teaching something, right? Because you need to put it into very unique structure to express it.
Correct.
One thing is understanding,
Correct.
but the other thing is to actually being able to pass that, explain it, and it just creates so many outlooks for the whole thing, for the complexities,
True.
right?
True. Yeah, listen, it takes a very specific character to teach, I think that I learned the most through teaching, and I like it. And I've gotten invited around the GCC to speak in front of, seminars in front of 200 people, 250 people.
Nice.
And it was actually really funny. There was one, this neurocognitive range of motion. So I spoke in front of them about that because I think it's really, really interesting. And I think it's something that people need to address more. And I did an experiment in front of 200 people. I don't know what the outcome was going to be. I just said, I want you to assess your range of motion. I told 2 people to get together. I said, assess your range of motion. Okay, cool. We're going to work on a visual drill. You're going to work on a proprioception drill. And you're going to work, I think it was some kind of hearing drill or something like that. We worked on three little things. And I say, reassess your range of motion. Tell me if you move better. Everyone was like something big happened. Wow. I can now touch, the most classic one is the toe touch, right? Yeah. Doing it that way. They're like, whoa, Oliver, I can touch the floor now. Like, cool. Is it your hamstrings that are tight? They still say yes. I'm like, it's
surprise.
It's not only your hamstrings, right? Your hamstrings are tight because of something else, and you need to understand that something else, right? Yep. So definitely doing these, these talks or teaching, or even doing these podcasts, man, you don't only learn a lot, but you learn to express yourself better, you learn a lot, but you also learn what I should do next, right? Or you have your guests that give you ideas on what you can do next, right?
I start to think about it a lot when after a couple of first episodes, and then I was like, well, when you get to sit with a subject matter expert for 1.5, 2 hours and just let them speak,
It's super intriguing.
It's super cool.
It opens up your mind in weird ways.
Yeah, and man. It's like, my brother told me, it's kind of, it wasn't like a criticism, even it maybe was a criticism, I don't know, but he was like, it's like about everything, but not really about something specific. But That's the whole point. Everybody here is somehow related to health and fitness. That's all I care about. I don't necessarily need to talk about technology too much because I don't understand shit. I mean, I would like to learn, but if it's a technology that will help us to get healthier and fitter, okay, go for it. But the variety is what makes it interesting, because it's also opening so many other ways how to look at the things, and just observing how people think. That's one other thing, right? Like when you have a conversation with somebody, how often we pause, stop, and observe, like, oh wow, like answer to this question triggered this response. What is the why behind it? What is the thought process of that?
Yeah. It's funny you mention how everyone's interrelated with health and fitness. I always have this kind of running joke with my clients. When I'm seeing them, I'm like, so I see a lot of people who are in finance as well. And as amazing as they've done career-wise, obviously they have all the money in the world. They don't need to worry about a day of their life. Literally, they can just, come out and I'm happy days for at least 10 years kind of thing. But I see that there's something that's off, So I always ask them, and this is a lot of time when, I'm treating, I'm needling, I'm doing something and they're face down or something. I'm like, so has it, so I go up to them and I say, has it crossed your mind to, just leave finance and become a personal trainer or yoga instructor? And they just all start laughing. And to believe it or not, 85%, I would say roughly 85% are like, you have hit the hammer on the nail. Everyone in finance just wants to leave. They want to put on nice, easy clothes, Lululemon shorts or whatever, Nike shorts, whatever it is, just like a tank top, running shoes. I'm comfortable. And they want to see either other men, other women lifting weights, looking good, building muscle. And it's crazy. It's an innate need, right? Is this, we can talk about anything, but the sexual or one of the most ingrained things in your brain is your attraction to the opposite sex, right?
Or same.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna get into the logistics of this now. That's a whole other thing. I mean, I have no problem against it. To each their own, right?
Yeah.
I have more. I mean, Canada is going crazy with this. Is if you're a boy or if you're a girl, then I'm going to have some pretty big arguments with you, because anatomically you're a boy, anatomically you're a girl. I'm sorry, there's no debate here. I'm sorry, you don't choose here which side you go. But anyways, that's a whole other ballgame. But a lot of these people are craving, not being in this necessarily formal world. They want more informal things to happen in their lives. They want to just lean back. They associate health and wellness with leisure and relaxation.
Yeah, because that's why they do it, right? Because if they train, they train
it's their stress release. But, physical activity shouldn't be a stress release only. It should be a way of life, right?
Yep.
And you need to start carving this into their heads. You're not doing this so that you just look good naked. This should be your life. This should be your understanding. This is how you should live, right? And when they start understanding that, then it gets a little bit better. But, at first it'll take them some time to take the suit off and, just go live your life, go relax, go down to Bali. Like I had this really, really cool guy yesterday. He's going to Bali now because he likes doing these retreats. He likes learning. He has his own retreat in his home country. It's interesting. He likes to learn and he has the means to do it as well. Understand that life and you're going to your potential is completely unlocked. Social expectations block off what you are capable of. So let's say, Paolo, you're expected to go into the office from 9 to 5 and, you do that 5 days a week. Like, who says I have to work 9 to 5? Who says I need to be in this place from 9 to 5? Like, you choose. And like, I've come here, I'm looking at your place. I'm like, this is awesome. You have a podcast room. You have a whole gym in your damn apartment as well, right? You do what you want to. You learn every day. You guys got good things going for yourselves here. It's tough. Yeah. Okay. Whose life isn't tough? You don't think the richest people in the world have tough lives? Of course they do. They have just the scale of which other people are under them who are relying maybe on a paycheck or on decisions or on certain things will be bigger. But at the end of the day, it's the same shit, different day, right? Different person.
I heard one quote, which is exactly what you're talking about, that the guy who can afford to go at any time of a year to go to Bahamas, chill out on the beach, is the guy who will enjoy chilling on the beach the least.
Okay.
That means that these very highly successful people who are very much dopamine driven in a meaning of, I do this, I get reward, I do this, I get and I earning, whatever it is, if it's a stock market or any other type of gambling, doesn't matter. But these most dopamine...
Impulse-based people.
Yeah, they are not able to relax because that way of thinking... he will be on that beach.
It's a way of life. Yeah. It's a way of life.
He will be on that beach still thinking about what else I can, so he will not be on the beach.
I mean, I put myself in that situation everyday life. Like, okay, what can I do for my family? What can I do this? I'm always thinking, and this is why this breathing and meditation thing never worked for me. I need to do more. People tell me I need to meditate. I'm trying at night, but I drift, man. I'm a drifter as it gets,
Yeah.
And they're like, no, go for 30 days. Just play the music, do this. And I'm like, fuck, man, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I try, I'm thinking about my breathing. I'd rather do what your technique is. It's a minute, right? It's a minute, minute and a half, and I'm done. And I got the results what I needed. Cool. Exactly. I'll hold my breath afterwards. Cool. I'm done. 5 minutes, done.
That's the whole point why we want to do it.
What am I going to do listening to this calm voice that's not calm, this stupid music that I don't want to be listening to, lying on a bed or something, and then I'm like, oh my God, my left shoulder is more externally rotated than my right. You just start feeling in your whole body how everything is screwed up, and you're just like, I just can't do it.
I can't even read books now. I used to read so much.
Okay.
But somehow something flipped and I can't focus. I will read 3 lines and I'm already thinking somewhere else. And then I was like, whoa, no.
Unless it's something that you're super interested in, that's englobing your life at the moment.
I prefer, because it started when I started listening to podcasts and listening to audiobooks. It feels, and maybe there's something wrong with me, you can tell me, that stimulation of just sitting and just reading is not enough. So my mind needs more. So I can drive or ride and listen. I can be cleaning, having podcast on, and I'll be way more focused on that than just, some semi-mindless action.
Yeah.
I mean, driving shouldn't be mindless, but you know what I mean, yeah?
So both of us ride motorcycles, right? Yeah. I don't even think twice when I got on my... It's so nature to me to get on, pull clutch, down into first gear, let's go. I don't even need to think. And I've had close calls lately, and this is how I know I've become a better rider over time, is when I get into these close calls, I would have before my heart would just, be coming now, just chill. I feel it go up a little, but I'm just chill. It's okay. Break. I know what to do. I know how to put myself in the situation. Yeah. You're a cool cat, right? And I think that's something that's important over time is you need to know how to, relax yourself, because most people will always put themselves in the most stressful situation. Why are you putting yourself in a stressful situation? Stop.
But this is exactly I just feel, I see it, not feel. I feel the why behind it, but I see it happening so much with different people that some of them, like you and me, I can't get calm through trying to get calm. I can get calm through more intense action. And then some other people just need that, chill out meditation. And if it works for them, good. It just doesn't work for me.
Did you? So, I mean, you study this a little. Do you find that chill out meditation thing works better with women than men in your experience? Because
you know what? I would even go a little bit deeper, and I would say it's male and female, or masculine and feminine energy. Because I know ladies who are exactly like that, but they are this height grind, they have a lot of this what would be maybe naturally described as a male drive. And then you have guys who are way more chilled, and they are way more for this meditative state.
True,
and point. They have more of that feminine energy. So definitely yes, but I wouldn't go gender specific. I would go this
energy
vibe,
specific.
energy specific.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Makes absolute sense.
Okay. Because you definitely know also, especially if you're working with CrossFitters, when you have CrossFit ladies coming in, it's not a normal kind of a
They have
regular girl.
They have something to prove.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
They have something big to prove. And
That's
I'm like,
a very good way to describe it.
Yeah. I've seen it more than a handful of times. So I know the men. I just find most of the time they're just big overtrainers. I mean, it's just you need to tell them to slow the hell down. And the same thing is I have some high level martial arts guys as well who are competing. MMA, jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
MMA is a little bit different. Jiu-jitsu, there's some drilling, so they're not going crazy. But the guys who are MMA, man, they just get hit. I'm like, what? I literally have to say to them this. I want you to come in next week, and I don't want you destroyed. I want you to feel like maybe you've trained hard. You just need some soft tissue work, and we move up from that point. Every time they come in, destroyed. Like, man, how am I supposed to get you better? Who are your coaches? Like, your coaches should know this. One thing when I were to train people, so going from that kin background, is I don't care about your workout today. I want to know how you feel tomorrow so you can work out tomorrow. And even the day after, and the day after, and the day after. Because you're not going to get your results from, 1 day of training. It's the accumulation of all your training over days, weeks, months that makes the difference.
Especially if after that first training you're 3 days off, just because how beaten you are, right?
How is that constructive?
Yep.
How is that constructive? So I rather you go slower, load yourself less on that day, maybe focus a little bit more isometrically, slowly understanding how your body works so that you can tolerate this or increase the resilience that you were talking about and make yourself better over time. And also another thing is when you slow things down, you breathe better. It's a natural thing. You slow things down, you breathe better. You don't need to go crazy.
We did seminar of breathing and muscle awareness for Matador BJJ.
Okay.
So this BJJ club here in Nadalhammer, and also coaches. All coaches they had attended it. You would be surprised how surprised they were when we were doing the breathing practices.
I don't doubt it.
No, what I find a little problem with sports overall is that in the sport itself, in the execution of practically any sport, outside of bodybuilding, paradox, the goal is not what your body is doing.
Correct.
In football, it's where the ball goes or where the other guy goes so I can block him, right? But it's never the body. Any ball sport is like that. In CrossFit, it's about the kettlebell, the dumbbell, the barbell, the
moving into the position,
the chin over the bar. Yeah, the chin has nothing to do with a pull-up. Your lats have to do your bicep. So the pure purpose of strength and conditioning for me should be to give them tools how to build the awareness and understand that if I do this movement, I am using this set of muscle chains, so on, and that's how it's done safely, and that's how I can do it for longer time. But if the ball or whatever the object, javelin throw, anything, if the object is going to be the focus, it will never work.
True.
So
I completely agree.
I mean, you have it on your table every day, right? The consequences.
But you know what? It's a really interesting. You broke it down to a level that makes absolute sense to me. I had never thought of it that way because I made it way more simpler. And what the biggest problem to me in sport is, I don't know if you agree with this, but this is what I think is the biggest problem in sport nowadays. There's too much money in sport.
Okay, break it down.
There's way too much. So everyone wants to do everything based on how much they're going to get paid. That is their prime focus. They don't want to go in for $1 million. They want to go in for the $50, $60, $70 million contract. Like, dude, are you doing this because you love it or are you doing it for the money? My question is...
You said you're from Montreal, right?
Yeah.
There was an NHL draft.
I'm not following it right now. But there's drafts.
I'm not following it either. However, the number one guy from draft was from Slovakia. So it was all over the media. Montreal got him.
Cool.
And I believe when you're saying about a lot of money. I think it was, I don't want to say something stupid. It was like 80 million a year.
I heard about this.
Yeah.
I saw what's his name?
Slavkovsky.
Yeah, that's it. It was a longer name. I remember it was a longer name. That's really fitting. Slovakia, Slavkovsky. The money is just crazy. You know, if you ask, you know, these Mbappe's or whatever, what's his name? Messi.
Lionel Messi. Yeah.
Will you go out and play for free? I don't think you will. It's incentivized by something greater than even the training itself, right? And the only reason why these guys continue is because they have a problem spending money. So they need a lot more. Same thing with Floyd Mayweather. Look, Floyd Mayweather, debatably, I'm not taking this away from him, best boxer of all time. I'll give that to you. Fine. You didn't get hit. You didn't take damage. You're good at avoiding things. But the only reason you're fighting right now, these stupid exhibitions with Conor McGregor or Jake Paul or Logan Paul or whatnot, is because you need money, man. You need money, right? You need money. Or they were supposed to have an event here that just got canceled because, unfortunately, His Highness passed away, the previous ruler. But I met the guy, the organizer, who brought Mayweather here, $16 million just to show up here to have a fight on the top of the helipad of.
What?
But it didn't happen, right? It didn't. But $16 million to show up for 4 or 5 days.
And you're probably even ticket paid, right? So it's oh shit. I mean,
it's like,
yeah,
dude, the guy's retired. He's old. He's like mid 40s now. Like, yes, he was skillful. I'm not taking that away, but he is 100% incentivized by money.
But then,
and the biggest problem comes with the fact that we as humans will be like, oh wow, so much money. Oh, we have to follow. Listen, I watch sports because I'm genuinely interested in the sport or in the skill or this and that. I don't do this for the money. I don't care how much these guys get paid. I'm happy for them. I hope they don't hurt themselves. And I'm happy they can enjoy some of those earnings, not screw up their lives.
Yeah.
But it's just nuts, man.
Then when you think about it, how much is it system induced? Because if a Slavkovsky, with all respect to his capacities and upbringing, everything, but he's a guy from Slovakia who was he was hockey raised in Finland, so he was living on his own in Finland for a couple of years. He'll do very
well in Montreal. Trust me. It's a hockey. It's a religion.
Yeah,
people have nothing going for themselves.
The thing is, he's 18-year-old.
Oh, young,
and he will get $80 million a year.
Too much money, too young.
So,
man.
Of course, later on, if he will go crazy. Yeah. Yeah. His family.
He better meet you so he can start doing breathing drills there and start training with you and bring him back down. You need people in your life that bring you back down to earth. Because ego will take over at that point, right? Ego will take over. You're on top of the world. Oh man, I got all the money. Man, it's not about money. The journey, man, you named it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the journey. And then once you're there, you can better yourself from that point. You want to become a legend, right? Wayne Gretzky didn't become a legend for just, putting goals at the back of the net. He genuinely wanted to better himself, right? And that's why he played for so long and he's done so well. And now we remember. And he came out with some really, really famous lines as well. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, which is one of the biggest ones, right?
Yeah.
Take the damn shot, right? This is what we're trying to teach people, is just take the damn shot. That's all you really care about. Don't worry about the end goal, right?
Yeah, you said it before. Don't worry about that.
Don't focus on the end goal. Yeah. I think people focus on the wrong things. But you need a certain cognitive knowledge to, we're having this conversation. Whoever's going to be listening to this is like, holy crap, this is heavy. Like, this is heavy. This is not something easy to digest, and it's not meant to be something easy to digest. You need to have a certain cognitive acuity to start understanding these things. And the problem in nowadays is that people don't have that. People are trained not to have that. Right. And my biggest issue right now, and I have this issue with a lot of my my clients, I say, or especially who are in education, I say, okay, how did the education system change for my kids in the last 20 years since we went through education system and right now? And they come back to me and say nothing. I'm like, okay, so if I had my kid one of these, right, and I put it in front of them and I say, you can learn everything off of that, they won't be able to compare. They'll do better with the iPhone or the computer. They have all their information there. I just need to make them curious. That's it. They're going to be way smarter than you. They're going to be way
And I would say, on top of curious, we need to created tools how to get them a critical thinking, because they can also learn a lot of wrong stuff.
True.
Yeah. And not in a meaning of learning the stuff that is wrong for them, but actually learning some misinformation.
And take the ego out, right? Look, you and I are both very successful in what we do, but I have no ego. I want to learn from you. I don't know everything. I'm not going to know everything, and I don't want to know everything. I have principles which I think are right and what I think are wrong, and I'm willing to debate whether I'm right or wrong based on science, based on what makes sense in my brain, and I'm very flexible to change those things, right? But by having that mentality, you need to have also to look at yourself from a third party. So you're looking at me. I look at myself in the mirror and say, I can't have any ego. I have to be very, very, very level-minded here. I need to be very pragmatic in the way I'm thinking, right? If I'm not, I'm going to be rigid. I'm going to be a bored. I'll attract some people, but I won't attract all people. And this is the understanding is, this law of attraction is a big thing. And law of manifestation, you want something, you'll go get it. You want to meet someone, hey, your idol is Slavkovsky. Man, you can meet him. Just think about it. You know me from Montreal. Hey, come visit me in Montreal. Next thing you know, you'll see Slavkovsky. It is a possibility, right? Like these are all things that if you put in your head and you say, hey, I want to achieve this, you can do it. But enjoy the journey working up to that point. Don't get, discouraged, 5 minutes into your journey and this is not going to work out. As this new Gen Z, millennials, whatever you want to call us, we get so pissed off without instant gratification.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that's constructed in our lives has to do with instant gratification.
Are you pissed when you order something and Amazon will tell you it's not going to come tomorrow, but like in 3-4 days?
I try not to put myself in that situation, man. You'll learn maybe one day when you have kids. No, I don't get too pissed about that. I mean, yes, it's annoying. It's like, hey, I got Prime. Hey, I got this. Why am I paying for this if you're not getting your money's worth?
I mean, not like pissed like I would throw a furniture, but the thought is there, and I was like, "How ridiculous is it? I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to meet anybody."
The worst of the computers. When you get on a computer, it's like, "Why is this taking so long?" You're trying to open a page, and it's like it's not opening. It's like, "Why is it taking so long to boot my computer?" Man, it's crazy. Do you remember? I remember when the first computers came out. I was sitting behind this green screen because I'll never forget. My dad got this big box on the ground. There's this big, computer screens that were like.
How old are you?
I'm 34.
34, okay.
Yeah. And this was in the N90s or something, if I remember really, really well. And I'm like, whoa, it's a green screen and it's taking like 10 minutes to load. And I'm from the times where we had dial-up internet. So you wanted to make a phone call, you lift up, it's like, you tell that to kids nowadays, they're like, what are you talking about? And then you're like, Ma, I need to make a phone call,
We had internet only after 5 p.m., I think, or 7 p.m., or you pay more, that after, so you're just waiting there and it's like, not yet. Don't go, wait 7:01.
It's mind-boggling, how far we've come, So the biggest problem is really bring people down to earth and stop being this spoiled wannabe. I don't know what the heck you want to be. Take your ego out of it. If everyone had no ego, the world would be a very different place. I mean, just think about that. If people didn't thrive for power or ego, the world would be a very different place right now.
Exact opposite, I would say.
Exactly.
For where it's going.
From where we are right now, right? And unfortunately, you as the little guy, or us as the little guys, we can't change those big, big, big things. But you can change small things in your life. So why don't you do it? Take control of your own life. You have choices. You are where you are because you choose to be there.
And if you find a way, show it to others.
Exactly.
That's what you do.
That's why I was asking you, are you teaching this stuff? Because I see huge value in it. It's something I'm going to want to learn. I'm going to want to master. And it's something that I'm going to want to share with others because no one's aware of it. Yep. But I see the importance of it.
And the mind blow is how simple it is, right? It's not I want to call it a body hack code.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Because it is, you can literally hack it with super small practices, which makes insane difference because as you said, how long can you be without air, right?
2 minutes.
Need to breathe.
If you want to do your crazy breathing drills, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. With the second your brain stops getting oxygen, you're screwed.
Yeah.
The cells start dying, organs start dying, everything. So you got the breathing, then you got your water, then you got your food.
Yeah.
There's your tier, right? But there's such an emotional connection with food,
And
like
that's
you said,
also-
because it's on
and-
your lips, it tastes, it's good, it induces your endocrine nervous system to start stimulating things that bring you calmness, because
How-
people cannot hone their normal stress, so they manage it through other external stimulus.
I never had this. I never had emotional
man.
eating. I don't have any emotional connection with the food. I was talking about this here before. That's not important. What is
You
important?
only eat chicken, rice, and broccoli.
No. I don't eat rice.
I'm joking.
And I don't like vegetables.
Okay, fine.
No, the thing is that it's not like I make it dull on purpose, right? It's just that I don't care.
Yep.
Tima is amazing cook. She will try to do this and that and that. And I'll just like, the worst thing you can do in Tima's dad household is to make dry meat. That's like, you'll be kicked out immediately. Like,
Gotta stay,
that's-
throw it on for 2
They're like
minutes.
so focused, and like everything
Has to be it. Like,
circulates around food. Anyway, I want to ask you how you got out of it.
out of
Because
the,
you said
the emotional eat?
Yeah.
Intermittent fasting. It made me notice it. So I said to myself, and I think my wife watched something lately and she told me about it, but I started this way before that. I saw some kind of podcast, I think it was about, or I was reading something about intermittent fasting. And I found it interesting. I said, okay, there's, these benefits here. And I'm like, okay, let's try it. Let's see how this is. Let's see how I feel. And I think the more I did it, the better I felt. The more I wanted to do it. And now I've gotten to a point where I feel great. I don't need to eat as much as I did before. I'll have more energy. I can train harder being older, because this is another thing. I mean, yes, I'm 34, but I'm not 24 anymore, right? I remember at 24 how I can kick my own ass. I can do anything. I can eat anything, and I won't have a pooch start growing on me, kind of thing. 34, it's not at all the same. Your body's very different. The resilience to stress is very different. It's shifted a lot more down, and I'm fine with that. I'm deep down in my heart very content with that. And metabolically, it's normal. It's absolutely normal, right? I'm older. It's okay. But this is where you kind of reshift your way you do things and how you train, and you feel better. So for me, ideally, training-wise, 45 minutes, not necessarily the most heaviest. I felt very, very good. Now I'm doing a test with myself because I want to change physically how I look. So I started stacking up the weights a little bit more. I'll do 2 trainings, or I'll try to do 2 trainings. The morning one will try to be more weight-based. The evening one will be just more cardio movement. When I mean cardio, I mean uphill walking. If I do a run, it'll be a light run. It's not like these tempo getting
So almost like active recovery type of
yeah,
thing.
with like some core bracing, pull-off pressing, something just to kind of work rotational core. Try to get Copenhagen's. I don't know. Do some kind of functional based movements to make me feel my chains are strong more than anything. That's it. And I am seeing some changes. I just want to feel, how does it feel now when I'm 34 compared to when I was at 24.
And okay, you do intermittent fasting. You said sometimes 18, sometimes up 20 hours. What you eat, and don't you have problem to squeeze all the food you want to have or you need to have in that small window?
So knowing wants and needs are 2 very, very different things, right? So, but in turn, having 2 meals within that time, 2 fairly bigger meals, I'm actually okay. I feel fine.
And what do you eat?
So I make myself now, I'm making lots of salads fresh. So I try to go get the salad very, very fresh. I'll put carrots, I'll put green onions, I'll put cucumbers inside it. Whenever I have my salads, I always put olive oil, some kind of good olive oil on top. I'll put sometimes balsamic vinegar, just sometimes. I don't do it all the time because a lot of time I'll throw meat in there as well. So I'll cook myself meat. So I'll buy myself chicken breast, prepare it with, this is crazy, tandouris, curries, paprikas. I like that, just kind of very, very simple stuff, like the powders that I put on top. And I've cut out a lot of carbs from that as well. But I have these addictions to certain things like dates. I love dates. Like I can go all day about talking about dates. I don't know. I think it's a very thing over here. I used to have a very big connection with breads as well. So now only when I go out or I get invited for dinners will I have bread. I won't, I'll try not to go to the supermarket and just start eating bread because bread, I don't know, it's like a soft spot for me. I think it's a Eastern European thing that my parents ingrained in my brain. It's just such comfort food.
Tima is bread freak.
Bread. Yeah. So typically that I try to have fruits and vegetables as well. So I'll have apples, pears, mangoes. I don't count calories. I've never done the calorie counting actually.
I don't believe much in calorie count. I think
arduous.
everybody could have, if somebody really, really wants to, do some weight modification, whether it's on the way up or down, they should have a general idea. But, having it counted and dialed into every single, again, every single calorie, it doesn't even matter, because if you're going to eat it stressed, you're not going to digest it well anyway. If you're going to eat it very well rested in a good company, socializing, chilled out, you're going to digest way better. Yeah. So the actual amount, especially for the protein, when everybody in fitness, always freaking out, enough protein, and going to 2.5 per kilo of body weight, come on, you don't need that.
Say hello to your kidneys.
Yeah, you don't need that by far. It's just super overload for the system, unnecessary. But so what you have, like if you have 250 grams of chicken breast, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, I would say 250 grams, something like per serving to 300 grams.
That would be the only protein for that day?
No, I would have like two meals like that.
Two meals like that. Okay,
that.
so when we think about it, 500 grams of chicken breast.
Just something like that. Something like that a day.
Yeah.
I'll have
that's 100 grams. For you being 85 kilos?
80. I vary between high 70s to low 80s. So
okay,
it's fine. I don't take it in a wrong way anyway.
Yeah, so
I think I'm about 81, 82 now. Well, I took on a little bit more muscle. I find I'm holding more water as well. That's
1.3 grams of protein per kilo of body weight.
I feel good.
And you feel good, and you're gaining, and you're getting stronger.
Yeah, I'm getting much stronger.
Yeah.
Much stronger. Much stronger. I don't think my body can assimilate much more. It'll just be more of an emotional eating pattern, right? So I find this when I'm surrounded by good company. A lot of the time, it's just let's go, let's eat. Or like you're having a good time because it takes your mind.
You had a good dinner last night, right?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. Actually, not too far away from here. I got invited for dinner, and I said, yeah, why not? I had a good dinner, so full of energy. And now, I ate at, what time was it when I finished eating? Around 8 something. So I'm at 16 hours, 15 minutes, and I feel absolutely fine. I don't feel hungry. I don't feel anything. Happy days. I can go easy until supper, and I wouldn't have a problem. But I got invited now for another thing later on. So I get invited. I try to be a social individual. I think it's for my happiness, being surrounded by others is something that's really important to me. And I've come to notice it because my family is currently away in Canada for the summertime. So we went all back together. I brought the kids, and my wife are in Canada with our families.
Oh, really? So you're here on your own?
So I'm a lone wolf here. Oh, and it's a very empty life being here alone. It's very empty.
Come over.
Happily. I mean, I'm here right now, right? We'll try to make it more. But in a little less than 2 weeks, I'll be going back, which is, I'm very excited for.
Oh, you're going there, yeah?
Yeah, we're going there. And then we'll all come back together at the end of August.
Did you guys meet here with your wife?
We met in Canada, actually. We
Really?
met in Canada. Yeah, we met we don't actually remember the perfect time we met, because we met through a group of friends at some point, and then it went about 5 years when we didn't see each other. But we knew about each other, but we didn't know. And then we rekindled with friends again. So it kind of was an interesting, the timing was very good as well. Like, when everything happens for a reason.
You moved here together?
Correct. So my parents moved, or they originally started working here as engineers back in 2008. And I would come and visit quite frequently.
Oh, okay.
And my parents were here for about 7 years. So at some point I came with my girlfriend at the time, wife now. We said we both like it here. Let's move on over. And the second I moved on over here, I said, okay, I'm locking you down, getting engaged. And then we planned the wedding and everything. So just over 6 years married now. 3 kids. I mean, we've got a lot to show for it, right? And happier than ever, to be quite honest. And
cool.
I was speaking with my wife about this. We want to do something relationship related in fitness as well, because people have, how can I say this? They think relationships are hard, and definitely they're not hard if you understand your partner and if you do things that you guys both enjoy together, right? So we want to kind of put all of these things all together, and people think, oh, you have kids, it's time you're going to get fat. It's like, man, what is this misconception stuff, right? Like, regardless of how many kids I have, how much I work, you have time to do whatever you want to do. You just have to want to do it, right? If you're making excuses for everything, then you're not going to succeed in many things.
If it's priority high enough, you always find the time.
It should be. Your well-being is a priority. It's a
priority. I wanted to ask, how is it going for you trying to be social when you have 3 kids?
It's tough as well, but you find your way. We
right.
have a nanny, thankfully, who's really, really, really helpful. Also, 2 of the kids now are going to be going to, I call it school, but it's nursery, basically. I call it paying for their immunity. Because most of the time they stay at home, they're sick, right? And it's normal because they're subjected to so many other kids. You're not paying for schooling, you're paying for their immunity. So during the time that they're away and the nanny's around, you try to, do what you can. I mean, obviously, sometimes when you're invited at nights, we can't always go together. We go individually, but you need to make efforts with it. You know how Dubai is. It's a very social-based country, right? Or not Dubai, city. It's who you know who allows you to make it here. It's not how much you have, right? And knowing the most amount of people, understanding cultures, meeting people, is so important. It's so important to anyone's success here, right? If you are just kind of staying here, like where do you meet your people? You have to go out and meet people. You've met them through X, Y, and Z, and now you get referrals. But even if you get referrals, you still need to go out and meet more people. It's important. It's very important. And, if some people just don't understand it, they just think, I work here, I can... stretch, lift myself up, do whatever I want to. And no, man, work doesn't come to you. You got to go get it, man. If you want it. If you don't want it, you want to sit on your ass and do nothing, be my guest. Like you can be a stain on the couch all day if you want, right? That's what I tell people.
That's always the way.
So that's that.
What is the biggest challenge you have with your clients?
Buy-in. So them buying into or getting them to start understanding what my treatment strategies are and maybe sometimes looking at it a very unconventional way. But this is where I'm learning now through kind of studying psychology and not studying, but studying through my work and kind of, writing things down, things that I notice. You can impact this by creating a relation with them. So I'll give you an example. I have a guy who comes in, very, very fancy, nice. He's got a nice watch on. Oh, tell me about your watch. I'm into watches. So I get into a little convo about watches. And this is why I know a little bit of everything. We had a good coffee conversation at first. That's why we started hitting it off right away. I'm a coffee guy. You're a coffee guy. Nice watch, this. Then he has that connection. You have that empathetic, that emotional connection and understanding we both like something. So I always try to create that connection at first. Because once you have that, you got the buy-in. He understands my watch choice. He thinks the same way as me. I kind of see and gauge it. I'm just giving a stupid example, right? But
no, it's finding that one common thing.
That common thing. Once you find that common thing, then you can go crazy. You can go to town. They'll start trusting you a little bit better. Same thing I told you before is that people will try to buy you here. They'll say, "Oh, I'll pay you this much if you will come in." No. You say no, they're like, "Okay, I can't buy this guy." Now they come from here and they come down to this level, and it's like, "Okay, you're on the same level as me. Let's go." Fair game, right? So it's all about creating a connection, and typically it's an emotional connection that I try to create. This is not necessarily a friendship thing. It's an emotional thing, right? So you know how it is with you. You have lots of good clients, and sometimes they invite you out. They do this, they do that. You need to know where that fine line is, right? Because this is your bread and butter, right? Where can I do X, Y, and Z with that individual, and then it just starts feeling weird when you're training them and they're paying you. Do you see, like, psychologically it creates that? So I have to also be very, very careful with how I do this. I try to be close. I try to, if there's big social events, that's fine, right? But if it's on one-on-one things, going out for dinners and stuff like that, this is where I'm a little bit more weary, just from my perspective, because I know, like, you want to become my friend.
Close, but not too close.
Exactly. Yeah. So you need to know where that fine line is. But a lot of the time is getting that buy-in by creating